You're welcome, everyone, to the breakout session. Just indicate with a thumbs up in the chat section if you can hear me clearly, loud and clear. Thank you, Francisca. Thank you very much. I can see the thumbs up. You're welcome once again to this breakout session with Dr. Lawal Bakare, and I am Deborah Oyewole. I would be your host for this session. For any questions you have, you can drop them in the chat box so that we can answer them. We have 15 minutes for this session, and we will try as much as possible to make do with what we have as the time goes on. So you can start dropping your questions. I'm waiting to have Dr. Lawal here so that you can all begin to ask him your question. Hello, Dr. Lawal.
Hello.
You're live. Okay. Okay, nice to meeting you. So we'll be discussing fighting off pandemics and community defense versus herd immunity. And that was a great session we had, telling us about how we can include support our communities through commitment, getting involved in power dynamics and, influencing. And one of the things that struck me about your, when you talked about commitment was that we always wait for this symbiotic opportunity where, we look for someone who is doing it before we, do it. So I got to understand that commitment is independent. And once you make that move, everyone would follow. Okay, straight up to our first question. I can see a question already. I see a question already from Folake Lawal. And she's asking that what is the role of the primary and community health in health security?
Okay, because of time, I will make sure that I am as brief as possible. The role of primary health and community health, we can talk about it from the technical standpoint. This is the structure that actually is the closest to people. So the role they occupy is that last mile of health security delivery, which is they deal with all things notification of communities, which is enabling community members to know what they need to know to protect themselves. And then they also deliver some of the basic prevention functions. So sanitation, nutrition, early care. So when we say when you present early for care, you are able to detect that you are sick early and they're able to provide you evacuation if it is a communicable disease or not. So that is primarily the function that they occupy. And then community health actually has the power of doing home engagement, which is they can take health security to the doorstep of people. And then on the reverse side, health security also requires intelligent systems. Intelligent systems picks, so when you hear of contact tracing and related things, intelligent systems pick those notifications. So community health is responsible for also picking that notification. And then community health is actually the part that helps in interacting with the social dynamics of people, the political lives of people. It is sometimes the non-health part of health delivery, which is where you now have to look at the social parameters such as the environment that people live in, type of education that people are receiving, the economic and livelihood of people. These are also components that the community health systems also helps to interact with. And then most importantly, which I mustn't miss out, is services like immunization and vaccination. Community health is also the last mile that ensure that that is delivered. We can always dive deeper, but because of time, I want to make sure that I'm able to answer as many questions. And then if I don't get more questions, then I can also go back. You mentioned something about breaking our high fences, or rather creating more entrances. How exactly can we do this on an individual level? Thank you very much. Now, I can tell you one of the main tensions that we usually have when it comes to breaking those fences. Number one is some of us are too shy to engage. So there is that socio-psychological challenge of, oh, if I get myself out there, how do people view me? Who am I? That's one. On the other hand, are now the natural fears that, look, I've never engaged there before. What do I get in response? I could be injured. And then there's also that component of, I don't actually know what to do when I get there. So how do you break this fence? The first thing you do is literally you throw yourself out there. It's a very funny experience that you're going to look for existing platforms in your environment. There is no community in this world that does not have a platform of engagement. If there was none, there is always the opportunity of creating one. And what is that opportunity? On every street in Nigeria, as a case study, there's a street, either a landlord association or a community association. And that is your first entry point. If you look at it technically, and I'm hoping the few people that are on this session with me, the 20 of us that are here, should try this. In every community in Nigeria, there is a ward development committee. That ward development committee has a very pivotal role to play when it comes to health service delivery. They are like the structure of the community that engages with government. But you know what usually happens? There is usually nobody like the quality of people on this call in that committee. That committee should be your first opportunity of breaking down your own fence. To say, you know what? I'm here with this old body of knowledge, and please, I want you to know that you know more than enough to participate in those formations. Go there to your ward. So if you don't know your ward, go to your local government office and say, look, I live in number so. I want to know my ward councillor, and I want to know my ward focal person. Ward focal person. I'm going to spell it in this box. WARD focal person. Now they are going to give you that contact. Call them and tell them, look, I live in social community and I want to be part of the ward development committee where I live. And then when you get in, then you can now start with conversation. Now, when you meet some of these people, it may be hard for you to interact. Probably they don't speak English the way you speak it, which is the truth. Some of them are not as economically as up there as you might assume. That is because of the fences that we built. Most times we don't have this engagement platform through which you can even begin to balance out. Whenever you get there, whatever you meet, you can now choose to upgrade their perception. Some of them have meetings, they don't put their reports together properly. Some of them do reports, but they don't know how to publish it. Some of them don't have social media accounts, they don't know how to put it together. Some of them don't know how to plan. And that is the reason that most of our health security and health system structures are broken. So my recommendation is, first place to start is, look for that platform where you belong. And where there is none, technology has created opportunity for us to have virtual platforms. So today you see WhatsApp group, no matter how big the estate is, Banana Island has it, you go to which other big estates are there, well, Parkview, most of the Ikoyi axis, if you go to Maitama in Abuja, you go to most of the big places, and even the communities are meant to be slums. They all have some of the digital platforms, and you can go there, prepare part of that platform, and participate in conversation. Please, you don't need to lose your mind. You don't need to be a totally different person. You can be who you are and engage and begin to apply some of the principles I shared. You mentioned, so the next question is from Charles Maynard. You mentioned the importance of creating gates and less fences. In most communities, the fence represents the more powerful and well-resourced people. They do not need community in a sense. How can we go about organizing the poor to get more power and more influence? So first thing is, coronavirus has taught us that those fences are actually virtual fences. It's a joke, but those fences, coronavirus does not respect those fences. So as you can see, diseases can jump across. So this is first an education for those who really are in that high socioeconomic bracket to start learning that they need to come down and interact with their local environment. During the lockdown, some of us had opportunity to move around Lagos, and you can hear of the insecurity situation in different parts of the state. That is partly because people are living in affluence, and right behind their fences are slums, and people could not eat in those places. So some of those people will actually break your fence just to come and find food to eat. So when you talk about making sure communities thrive, you cannot continue to seal yourself away and expect that. However, the organizing capacity of those who are the poor, in quotes, is actually not true. What you find is that the poor people can organize, but probably they don't just understand the tools of effective organizing. So what we that know what to do can even start helping them with is start helping to put structure into that organization. And you know what? They will allow you to come in, especially when you go in and you go in with an open mind that you want to really commit to ensuring that they actually get improvement. And then the other thing is that you put you help them to see the power in the organization. And how do you do that? You see, when you put people in a good number and you organize them effectively by creating a structure for the organization. So it could be called Association of People Living in Indiaraba, or Market Women Living in this community, or Youth Forum of so. You can now take that organized forum and insert it in that organized form that you created and insert it into the formalized structures. So I mentioned earlier the World Development Committee. There are so many other structures in the public sector that you can actually take your organized structure into, insert them in, and you begin to see that you can use your number to broker for either collaboration, you can use that number to broker for services. So when you talk about health security, one of the things that I've been trying to put together at Rapid Alert is this platform of volunteers, and I guess some of them might be on this call, and what I've been trying to do is to empower our people to realize that when you're organizing those structures, you can actually own some of the functions of health systems in your community. And I literally mean it, because the government structure that you see out there that they call the Federal Ministry of Health, the State Ministry of Health, local government health authorities, these structures are limited in terms of capacity. But when you organize yourself, you can say, look, in this area, we've organized ourselves as youth functioning for health. Or you say, we are part of the volunteers for infectious diseases for this. Or we've joined the Amal outreach in this community. And what we will be doing here is that when it comes to anything hypertension, we will be willing to work with anybody to make sure that it's delivered properly to our people. Or we will make sure that everything, disease notification, we will go around and make sure that everybody is well. And when somebody is ill, we quickly get them notified to government. So even in the midst of this coronavirus, you can say, look, in my own area, we are going to organize ourselves as young people living in Banana Island. And we're going to make sure that we have a follow-up system with every household. And whenever there's a problem, we quickly help the person to notify, because the person may not know how to notify. So these structures will work in whatever kind of system it is. What we found out through my own career is that there's just the absence of that person that understands the concept of organizing. So when you leave our people to their own practices, they don't really get the concept of organizing really well. So they don't know beyond, oh, we work together, we sit together under the tree and we chat. And you'll be surprised that some of them know what it is. Sometimes some of these platforms have also been infused by politicians and they have been over politicized. But when we continue to engage with this kind of mindset, we begin to neutralize some of the negative political antics in some of those places, and we get them to deliver for people. I hope that answers the third question.
Yeah, I think so. Then there was a second question that came with the first one, which is, how do we go about ensuring that communities have strong baseline health?
Thank you very much. Ensuring strong baseline health is first to even understand what baseline health means. And one of the concerns I have is how that is a shifting parameter today. Because back in the day, you would say, oh, baseline health is nutrition is guaranteed, access to primary healthcare services is guaranteed, and others. But today you would find out that, okay, even when you ensure all of that, basic things like presence of a ventilator can actually shift the dynamics of health of a place. But however, one thing that I would work with is from the policy standpoint, from the health policy standpoint, that there are policies that fixes what we call baseline health. And those policies would have helped to predefine that in this community, it should be a function of good nutrition, presence of at least a single health facility to deliver care, continuity, which is that somebody is continuously following up on you from time to time, and a factor that we call a factor X. When communities don't participate, somebody somewhere will predefine for you what you will call the baseline health. And then what you will find out is that those guys that predefined it will come in and try to deliver those factors, and then there will be gaps. And that gap will not be delivered while you are complaining. It is not that those people who were supposed to do it are really wicked people. It's just because you did not participate at the point of predefining what should be called baseline health. For me, what I like is so that things become systematic, making sure that your communities are organized so that you can have participation in the conversation of defining what will be your baseline. Today in Nigeria, baseline is defined around what is the number one killer of people: reproductive, maternal, adolescent, child health, and nutrition. That is the baseline of defining quality health. So you will find out that while hypertension might be on the rise, health systems is not picking it quickly. Cancer may be an issue. You just find that there's a pocket of initiative somewhere that's just trying to optimize what we will now do for cancer care. Our health system is primarily focused on reduction of maternal, reproductive, maternal, adolescent, child health, and nutrition. But we can sit back. In 2013, I organized an initiative that helps to bring dental health into a part of the primary healthcare system. We, in organizing ourselves and interaction, we can help our community to say, you know what, here, road traffic injuries should be one of the baseline because we have so many Okada riders here and we need to make sure that we protect their health. So for me, that is the beginning and the engagement, defining what will be the baseline package, and then ensuring that you now advocate for services, because you can now say, look, we don't have a lot of these, we don't have a lot of need for the entity X, but we have need for entity Y. So whatever resource the health system wants to spend on us, can you please help us to focus on entity X as opposed to entity Y? And you begin to find out that you're able to create balances there. So I'm going to the next question. When the basic of Maslow's hierarchy is fundamentally absent, how easy is it to organize? Very important question. So, you know, if you go into the Maslow basic, people even need to talk about survival. So the person that has not even eaten, that doesn't have basic needs of life delivered, how then do they begin to aspire to organize? But I usually use myself as a personal experience or personal story to fulfill this. And where I usually come from is those who will escape poverty, and those who escape illiteracy, and need all of the drag of the basic Maslow needs are those who apply the concept of patience. So a bit of patience is required and a bit of commitment. And then when you give yourself a good timeline, you will see that things can start changing. And then when community works together to ensure this, they can also work around the Thrive concept and ensure productivity. Time is up. Thank you, everybody, for the participation. I think we can now return to the main conversation. I think I return to
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Lawal, for the very insightful session. I'll be pasting the link to redirect us back to the group now, so that we can all go back to the group. Thank you, everyone. And if you want to interact with Dr. Lawal outside this section, you can do so across on social media. And I'm sure you can also get to chatting privately right now. So thank you, everyone. So we can leave and go to the main room. I just pasted the link now.
Thank you.
And we all see that.
Yes, you can.
Okay. Please hold on so I can do that. So ready. Yeah. Yeah, so that's it. Can everyone see the link that's been pasted?
You can see it. We are actually going there now.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks again, Dr. Lau.
Danke schön.
Bye, everyone. Yeah.